Well, why don't I just do the same thing as I did last year?
Don't forget to rotate your crops. You cannot plant the same thing in the same place year after year.
Really?
Don't forget companion planting. Some plants like each other, some hate each other.
Are you serious? Does this have to be so complicated? Hi, this is Lena Shea, an Iowa mom. And it doesn't look like I'm gardening, does it? But I really am. And if you notice, the title is An Iowa Mom Plans a Garden. That was not a typo. Planning your garden is really important before you get out there in the wind and the bugs and there's a whole lot of information that may get confusing. If you're a beginning gardener, let's just look at what do you really want to grow. What can I get at the grocery store easy, cheap, and not grow that? What can I not get at the grocery store that tastes as good as tomatoes that come out of your garden? That is a good one. So my first advice is figure out what you really want in your garden first and go simple.
A family of plants will tend to attract the same diseases and bugs. So if you keep them in the same place year after year, those bugs and diseases will have a chance to grow and develop more and more. But if we change where we plant these families, the bugs and diseases won't have as much of a chance. That's what we call crop rotation. There's unfamiliar names for these families, but I'm going to try and keep it simple.
The tomato family. That would be tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, and potatoes. The diseases that attack tomatoes also attack peppers and eggplant and potato plants. Other families, I'm going to call them vines because we've got things like melon, squash, and zucchini even, and cucumbers. Next is the bean family, and that includes beans and peas. And these, when you plant them, they produce nitrogen underground that helps to enrich the ground for next year. Pretty cool. Let's call them the salad family because there'd be things like radishes, lettuce, spinach, Swiss chard, could be cabbage, things that you would make a salad out of.
Last year, I planted tomatoes right here, but I'm not going to do it that way this year. I'm going to move the tomatoes over here, and that will work. I'll put the beans that I planted last year over here. Hey, I think we got it. It works really good to put your plant on a paper, and I use scrap paper, but you wouldn't have to. You could just use a ruler and do like 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. Each year, instead of redoing and remeasuring, I just put dots on the corners and connect the dots. To start off, I write last year's families to the side. That reminds me I won't plant the same thing there again. I alternate my plant families between 3 different gardens, but if you only have one, you can just divide your garden into sections.
The next thing we're going to talk about is what they call companion planting. And what I've simplified here, I worry mostly about what you don't plant together.
Hey, what are you doing down there? Whoa! Hey, Beets, you're a big bully. Pole beans and beets? Nope, they don't get along. Tomatoes and dill face off. Nope, that doesn't work. I guess carrots and dill don't get along either.
Okay, now it's time to put things on paper.
The things that I'm going to start by seed, I look on the back of the packet and I see how far apart I need to put a row and where the seeds are spaced and how deep they are.
Then I just put all that information down with the different rows so that when I go outside, I'm ready to know exactly what to do without having to take the little packets with me. I'm ready to go.
Miracles are a good friend to beans, eggplant, cucumbers, and melons because they deter certain bugs that are attracted to those plants. So what I do is I put a few of these friends in the row after the rows are all planted. I always make sure I get the small ones. You don't want the really, really tall ones. Now that doesn't seem so confusing. Just break it down, simple, into these little families. Kind of move those around year after year. And then the companion plantings, I don't even worry about it as much except for these enemies. I make sure I don't plant those things together. Put those on my clipboard ready to go. And when it comes to when do you plant things, on the back it will also show you when to plant. So good luck on your garden. Hope you have a very successful one. And if you have a very small spot, you might want to start with just a few items. And if you, let's say you're just doing tomatoes this year and you're going, but how am I going to rotate? Well, start with that. You can always dig up some more ground next year so you can expand your garden and maybe add some other kinds of things. This is Lena Shea and Iowa Mom. Have fun planting your garden.
Crop rotation. I don't think that's what it means.